Hi there. As expected, House of the Dragon Season 2 released its final and full trailer back on Tuesday at the big Warner Discovery Spring Upfront panel. I wasn't able to report on it right away because I had family stuff going on during the week. I know I'm getting to this Sunday. But I wasn't in a rush because there wasn't that much significantly new in it. Don't get me wrong, I really loved it, and I've been rewatching it just for entertainment value in terms of the music, the pacing. That as a standalone, if you missed the other teasers, this is really setting up season 2 very well. But, we saw a lot of this already in terms of, it gives us our first face shot of Cregan Stark, but we already saw him at the wall in the teaser. This is just a reverse shot of that. So, in terms of informational content, what more do I have to say? Or we actually see Alan Oakenfist now, but there's only so much I can really say about that, and there's much better shots of the dragons because they've had more time to finish CGI. But the way I'm going to handle this as a result of that is the video you're watching right now is the highlights of the half a dozen new things in this of note. This is the highlight version. In some ways that's better because there's different styles. Other people did trailer breakdowns by sitting down and doing an hour and a half podcast to get it out same day. And some of those are really good. This is the highlights of shorter, okay, these are the things that really stand out, so I'm not just rehashing things that were in the other teasers. Now, if you follow my channel, last weekend, in anticipation of this trailer coming out, I rushed out my much-delayed Season 2 episode-by-episode outline. Nothing in this new trailer has significantly altered that. But I said at the time, this is the 15-minute version, which is mostly me reading off a text slide. And I promised there'll be a final version incorporating screenshots from every promo, from the earlier teasers and the new trailer, in chronological order, according to the episode-by-episode breakdown I made. So that's coming right after this. That will be the 1 hour version where I go, okay, this is this screenshot, and I will discuss some of the more subtle differences in this. Just one that stands out is we knew there was a food riot, and Alicent gets caught up in it. We didn't know Helena is there with her on foot. There might actually be 2 riots, because at the funeral in episode 2, they're in a carriage. The food riot, which we think is in episode 7, they're on foot. That's different, because their clothes are different. But we didn't know Helena was there, so little differences like that, I'll point that out. Otherwise, these are the half dozen or so things of note that are new in this trailer. First and foremost, in terms of new informational content about the plot, is this shot of a messenger raven flying through a forest, timed to when Otto is saying, we're trying to get the great houses on our side. That a big thing of Season 2 is, while there is fighting, it's not just the War of Quills and Ravens, as the book calls it, but that they're trying to get different houses on each other's side. So, of course, Jace going to the Vale, to the north, that's a big part of it. Again, if you saw my season outline, I said there was a big leak that, well, not that big in the grand scheme of things, but that the cold open of Season 2's premiere, the prologue scene, just as the Council at Harrenhal was the prologue to Season 1, the prologue to the Season 2 premiere will be of messenger ravens arriving at Winterfell, showing the Starks learning that King Viserys is dead. Because otherwise the Starks don't show up until episode 3. But they wanted to hook people that they're coming. It didn't make sense to do that right away for pacing reasons. I have seen that leak with my own eyes. It wasn't just a rumor someone heard. It's Wake the Dragon and other of the spy community managed to get their hands on a filming schedule or something, and I saw screenshots of this thing. And it describes Episode 1, Winterfell, ravens and stuff. It's not a script, it was a filming thing. So I've already mentioned that. I mentioned that back when I did the episode-by-episode season breakdown, and now we see a raven flying through what appears to be a Winterfell forest. I have to admit that doesn't 100% confirm that. Others have speculated maybe this is a raven flying from Rook's Rest, begging for help. Because I can't tell, is that snow on the ground? Is that mist? And mist could be just because it's this misty northern forest. Maybe it's the mist that we see in the similar looking woods around Rook's Rest in other shots. This could be Rook's Rest. There was a prominent leak that you see ravens flying to Winterfell. And it could be either one, but I'd like to think this lines up with what I reported on. But I didn't doubt that because I saw an actual screenshot of paperwork for that. So that's probably the biggest one of just the cold open is the Starks. The next big one that a lot of people remarked on, which I was surprised by, is this shot of 3 dragon eggs in flames. And it was weird that so many people jumped to, oh, it's Daenerys' dragon eggs, when thankfully other analysts, not just me, pointed out it couldn't be Daenerys' dragon eggs. So just to explain it, Daenerys' dragon eggs come from Dreamfire, and they were stolen like 30 years before the start of the show, so like 50 years ago by now. They were stolen and sold in the Free Cities, and I doubt we'd see them again. Unless, of course, the TV show wants to change that, but logically, guys, don't you remember when Daemon was the country lord collecting the new calves, collecting dragon eggs in Season 8, and said, wow, Cyrax just had a new clutch of 3 eggs. And then in the finale said, I've got about 20 dragon eggs in the incubators, heating them up. Hopefully some of them will hatch. So this is Daemon hatching dragon eggs. And a leak that also came out, which I'm pretty sure is true, is that we will see Stormcloud in Season 2. The dragon of young Aegon, Daemon's son with Rhaenyra. I've said this before, I think there'll be this whole scene where they want to show the whole dragon life cycle, including the start of it, where we never actually saw one hatching on screen. We've seen eggs going into flame, and then later we see her we never saw one breaking out of a shell like in Jurassic Park. That I think there's going to be this big scene of you see Daemon heating one while reciting magic spells in Valyrian or something, and then Stormcloud hatches, and he presents him to his son and goes, as the descendant of kings, here I give you your dragon, something like that. So that's how I think they're playing around with that this is probably a scene of the hatching of Stormcloud. And yes, visually, a trio of dragon eggs evokes Daenerys, and that's the visual parallels, because, history rhymes, but they tend to do everything in threes. The dragon has 3 heads and everything, but that's what that shot is. And again, nothing earth-shattering, it's just we're going to see Stormcloud hatching. Other stuff we saw, which I wish I could linger on more, but there's not much to say, so just pause. Oh, cool, we got our first look at Cregan Stark from the front, and how he looks in the wig and everything in his costume. It's just, we saw a reverse shot of this in the teasers, of him and Jace will be at the wall together. For a while I thought it might be one or the other. I've already talked about that, so it's nice to see him. Moving on from that, I wish we had more, we get our first really good look at Alan Oakenfist. Alan of Hull, who is the brother of Adam of Hull, who we have seen in other teasers, but the angle was off, so he's like off frame, or you see him at dinner with Rhaenyra, but he's facing her back to camera in the last teasers. That they are both dragon seeds, and they're going to have storylines in this. Now, the way I think they're playing it in this is because they're not highborn. Adam is a fisherman or owns a fishing ship or something, and that Alan is, they talked about in the accompanying interviews, he's a soldier in the Velaryon fleet. But they said we're playing up that he's not a highborn, he doesn't talk like a highborn. They compared it to the pairing of Bronn with Tyrion or Jaime, that the contrast of he's really blunt, that his accent is different, so all of that, so they'll be introducing that. Funny that he's a shave pate, that he shaved his head, as if to, I'm wondering if Alan is hiding that he has silver white hair. Sort of like what Laenor did, his father, at the end of last season. And I've said before, like, Adam's hair is so black that I can't tell, is this implied that it's unnatural, that it's dyed? Because there have been Targaryen bastards in the books who dyed their hair to hide their parentage. So we'll see what they do with that, but it's interesting that why is Alan shaving his head? That's a take on the character. We didn't see that much of the character with this. Uh, Minor spoiler, the way we heard that they're going to play this is because Corliss's ship was damaged in the fight that almost killed him back at the end of season 1. Much of season 2, how are they going to work him in apart from council scenes, is he's at the docks repairing his ship. So you see a bit of that in the trailers, where you see Rhaenyra comes to the docks to talk with him while he's overseeing his crew fixing the ship, and like Alan will be there. Because otherwise, how would you have? Because it's hard to shift between the boat set and other actors on the land set would be a little difficult. But no big reveal there. It's just, oh, that's what he's doing a lot of. He's at the docks, overseeing ship repairs and ship armaments. There's really not that much else to this. I'm trying to keep this under 15 minutes. I enjoyed a lot of the new shots of dragons for CGI. Like, there's really good shots of Meleys in this at Rook's Rest. The two ones of note are just better looks at Sunfire and Moondancer. This is probably the best shot of Sunfire we've ever had. Still not like a really close-up profile pic to give you a sense of his personality, but like we have close-ups of Caraxes and Meleys and stuff, but this is good. This is the first time we've seen Aegon II actually riding his dragon. That's nice. Even better are the shots of Moondancer, which we had good shots in the teaser. These are even better. This is clearly showing that mohawk-like frill they keep describing her as having. She was diving in the teaser. I said maybe it's not extended because she's slicked back because she's going into a dive. Apparently that's true, because now when you see she's roaring, she extends it up, flares it as a threat display. And you can really see that banded pattern in her scales they described. Other than that, some people were reading a lot into these scenes, and thankfully, again, other channels have pointed this out. I think more than one shot in this might be from dream sequences or visions. Because in the accompanying interviews, which I'm not going to quote off, they did point out that Harrenhal is like, they compared Harrenhal to the Overlook Hotel from The Shining. That it's like a haunted house, you're not really sure what's real and what isn't, that Alice Rivers, the Witch of Harrenhal, sends glamours to people. And from that leaked audition tape, there's a point where Daemon goes, "What was in that healing elixir you gave me?" As if he just had a bunch of weird nightmares. And in some of these teaser shots, it looks like Daemon walking through the halls of Harrenhal, and then when we shift to him at the Red Keep in front of the Iron Throne, I'm pretty sure this is just a dream sequence. Like him remembering when Viserys dropped his crown on the floor, when we see the crown dropping. Also because he's wearing bedclothes. That's why he isn't wearing a hood. Oh, there were one or two different shots of this in the Instagram version or international versions. I don't know why. Just at the beginning, there were shots of characters' faces that weren't in the full version, like a shot of Jace, a shot of Rhaenyra, and there was a forward shot of Daemon in the Iron Throne Room, clearly showing that is Daemon. We can confirm from the other shots that is Daemon, but I think it's a dream sequence. So I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. It's just which ones are dream sequences, because the other thing is when we have Alicent in what we know is episode 7 in that meadow by the lake, and I'll talk more about that when I do the full episode breakdowns. But one of those other new shots was a front shot of this, showing that she's there. She's apparently taken off her Faith of the Seven pendant. I don't know if that's a dream or not. But I suspect it's this vision she has when she's sinking into the tub in the other shot. But I'll get to that. It's just we're not sure what in this could be dreams. Speaking of Alice Rivers, though, and I'll conclude with this, we can't confidently say Alice Rivers appears in any shot of this trailer at all. And it's been weird going through other trailer breakdowns where any time there was a woman that wasn't clearly identifiable, people would jump to, oh, that's Alice Rivers. Some people thought that she's that blonde woman who's laying back in bed while having sex. I'm not sure who that is. That could be a flashback to Emma, it could be Helena, it could be Alice glamoring someone in a dream. We don't know. But then you have like a brown-haired woman. People go, oh, that's Alice. I think Alice has brown hair because the Strongs, the seed is strong. They have black hair. Then you have this other shot of the woman with the fan there, and others said, oh, that must be Alice Rivers, and it's do a side-by-side comparison. You know what Gail Rankin looks like. Her features are sharper than this. Now, I admit, for the bad angle shot of the woman laying back on a pillow, I can't tell. That might be Gail Rankin, it might be a glamour, but the woman with the fan clearly isn't, and it was weird how some people, more than one channel, jumped to that. I guess there's two women flanking her. I think this is some sort of dance at a brothel or something. But we figure this out, that this is actress Kika Green. And this is a weird story, actually. She was cast in season 1, and she was cast as Copper Penny, which is apparently a prostitute. You know, she sells herself for 1 copper penny. That's why they call her that. But she ultimately never appeared in season 1 at all on screen, or at least that we were able to catch. Now, this is back in 2021 when we were parsing through every actor that had been cast. Is this like young Helena or something? So that's why I remember the faces. All the other spy people, spy fans, independently went, this lady looks really familiar. Who is she? I was like, is that Kika Green? I'm not really sure. Then others pointed out, wow, yesterday Kika Green posted to her Instagram the trailer with the cover image, the shot of the woman in the fan. So Kika Green herself has confirmed, oh, this is me. This is Copper Penny. But why would she be this same character? Was she in season 1? Well, according to Internet Movie Database, she was in episode 4. Apparently for the big brothel scene with young Rhaenyra and Daemon. And it turns out she is a trained contortionist. And there's that point just when we're at the start of the brothel, when it's not outright sex yet, but there's naked prostitutes doing this contortionist routine. And there wasn't a blonde, I rewatched it to check, there wasn't a blonde woman in that. So wouldn't be the first time that they have reused prostitute actors in different scenes. There was this one thing in like episode 3 of season 5 where the same actress played a prostitute in the same episode in both King's Landing and Volantis or something. But one was wearing a mask, so they thought it didn't matter. But point is, I think they cut her character from that one. Also, there was a 16-year time skip. I don't think it's meant to be the same character. She filmed scenes for that, but they decided she was good enough that, no, let's save you for season 2. So I think they cut her from season 4, and her character no longer exists in season 4, to reintroduce season 2. What is she doing in season 2? I've seen the suspicion that she is at the celebration that Aegon is giving for Aemond at the Cock Inn, at some dive in Flea Bottom. I've seen others speculating, like in the Spanish language websites, that maybe she was sent to distract Aegon during Blood and Cheese. I doubt that, because he wouldn't need much distracting. He doesn't really spend time with his children. But just that voluntarily, that I doubt someone sent her, but that just he is enjoying a brothel while Blood and Cheese is happening could be a thing. Or it could just be part of the celebration at the Cock Inn, I'm not really sure. But that's not Alice Rivers. We have not seen Alice Rivers in costume yet. And some things in this trailer could be glamours. Oh, and the last thing, that speaking of when we're not really sure who someone is whose head is off camera, this leaked out a couple of hours early over the Greek Vodafone service, and it was really blurry. So that shot of Aemond laying his head down for a minute we thought was Alice, because it was so blurry we couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. But fans managed to figure out from looking at the scars, there's a scar on the actress's hand that they matched up. That is the brothel madam that Aemond was familiar with from episode 9, who they implied is the one that Aegon took to lose his virginity to, and he's got a complicated relationship with because he's bashful about it. And I think this is him in private breaking down if I feel really guilty about killing Luke, and letting the mask drop, as it were. That we jumped to, we want it to be Alice Rivers, but like the hair is dark. They matched up the scar. It's not Alice. It's the brothel madam actress. So, 20 minutes into this. This was all of the significantly new stuff purely from watching the trailer. Other news came out, which I'm going to cover separately. Let's, in the comments, stick to what we can see here of, is this forest the forest around Winterfell, or is it the Rook's Rest stuff we've seen? Other than that, what the heck is going on with Alicent? I'm going to make the longer, hour-long version where I give the full outline with every screenshot we have. And split off from this, right after this, I'm going to make two videos about other info we heard from the interviews and leaks on two other characters.